Welcome everyone back to Curiosities, and I'm going to share a story with you that I read on Reddit, and it's one of those things that makes you wonder because we've been talking a lot about the drones, and there's people that are talking about alien invasions and that sort of thing, and that's kind of creepy. And for some people, they've tried to find the humor in that, like that's kind of silly. But this particular story and the subject matter really is what I want to really kind of cover, and that's dealing with skinwalkers. And if you're familiar with skinwalkers, I mean, there's a couple of shows that are really good quality shows that, believe it or not, I think the History Channel had one called Skinwalker Ranch or something like that. And we did a show on an episode on unknown and mysterious creatures that features skinwalkers, and if you're interested, you can check out that episode. It'll be in the pinned comment below. But anyway, this one in particular is about skinwalkers, and this is from Reddit. It's from someone posted it named Nut N-U-T. So I'm already skeptical to get started with it because, I mean, with a name like Nut. But let's get right into the story, and then let's try to unpack this to see if there's any legitimacy to it, or if it's something that we won't even consider it being possible. So it starts off with, I'll tell you this story as best as I can remember. Frankly, I'm not sure if I believe it myself, which is not a good sign off the bat, right? Which he's like, well, I'm not sure if it's true. Maybe my imagination got the better of me, or maybe my sense of fear took over. Regardless, these are the events present in my mind. Colorado is a place of such majesty where mountains crest the heavens and the forest feel wild and free. Boy, this guy's poetic. I'm fortunate enough to live in a small town nestled underneath one of the state's great 14,000-foot peaks. Here, the aspens grow in groves between the evergreens, and deer walk freely between homes. My wife and I share a beautiful little wooden house with our lovely animals, and enjoy the seclusion our town grants. So he's painting a nice picture of us, nice serene picture for us, right? About a year and a half ago, on a clear autumn day, my wife and I had gotten into a heated argument. I couldn't tell you what we were fighting about now, only that it was likely one of the worst we had ever had. I remember being livid, and when we reached the ending point, I realized I desperately needed to calm myself back down and clear my head. Looking back, it feels quite childish of me, but still angry. I exclaimed to my wife I was leaving for a bit, hopped in my little white car, and left the house. Okay, so he's got the premise here. He built this nice serene backdrop, and he puts in the conflict. Okay, so this guy's clearly, he knows how to build the story. Maybe he's a writer. I don't know. We'll see. Let's continue. I took off into the national forest surrounding our town, driving aimlessly, not sure where I was going to go, where I end up, only that I needed to find a place that could bring me some peace. I drove for about 30 minutes and without much thought just turned left down a long dirt road known for having a few campsites and a state park. I continued for another 30 minutes or so with a few cars passing me occasionally until I decided the place I was looking for needed to be completely secluded. So I turned down a small dirt road with no noticeable signage or vehicles, continued for a minute, and turned down another dirt road until I came to where it seemed to abruptly end. Okay, so now we have our protagonist out in the middle of nowhere where he's vulnerable. Yeah, this guy's definitely a writer. Perfect, I thought to myself as I pulled in. It was an excellent spot to be alone. Directly in front of where I parked was a lush grove of aspen trees. As I got out of my car, I was enveloped by the sound of the wilderness. The birds were singing, the wind blowing. I could hear little squirrels dancing across treetops. Peace, perfect peace. I walked down an unmarked path that winded through the aspens and soaked in the feeling. My anger almost immediately melted away, and I remembered feeling silly for being so mad in the first place. I love how this guy really ties in all the previous emotions and whatnot. So if he's not a writer, he certainly is portraying not to be a writer. He certainly has the attributes of a writer. After about 5 minutes of walking, I looked deep into the aspen grove beside me. I could feel it calling to me to walk among the trees, and I was more than happy to oblige. I stepped off the path and walked through the untouched grove, enjoying every minute of the nature around me. The feeling of peace was overwhelming. I felt like a new man and refreshed. The shimmering yellow leaves twirling in the branches above me were gorgeous and reminded me of video game graphics where the pixels dotted on and off. The wall of white aspens was mesmerizing, continuing now after row in all directions. The sound of the birds. Wait, I couldn't hear any birds. So now he brings us into the point of vulnerability. I stood there frozen and listened. Suddenly, I could no longer hear any birds singing, nor any animals like squirrels or chipmunks scurrying. There was only the faint sound of the wind blowing among the branches. It felt eerie. I began to walk back to the trail, when I could swear I heard something that sent a shiver down my spine. Each of my footsteps made two sounds. I turned around, my eyes darting in all directions. I couldn't see any movement in the rows of aspens. I started walking again, and to my horror, the second set of footsteps could be heard behind me. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me, but if I were to guess, I'd say whatever was behind me trailed by maybe 20 meters. I stopped and looked 2 more times, trying to find some shape in the rows and rows of trees, but I couldn't see anything. The proverbial mysterious creature out there. I started walking faster, my blood covered in goosebumps. My body covered in goosebumps and my heart racing. I could hear it matching my pace, but the footsteps were inching closer and closer from what I could tell. At one point, something in me told me to not turn around again. Keep going. Get in the car. I made it back to the clearing where my car was parked, facing the forest I had left. I unlocked it as soon as I saw it. The footsteps were maybe 10 meters behind me now. As I left the forest trail and stepped into the clearing, it sounded like the footsteps had suddenly stopped. I didn't care, though. I marched up to my car as fast as I could without breaking into a jog. I flung open the door and hopped in. I plunged my key into the ignition, and while my car burst into life, I looked up. I still think about what I saw. Those few seconds were burnt into my brain forever. Everything else I could explain away by just hearing things and feeling the dread. But I've never hallucinated before. When I looked up, deep among the rows of aspens in front of me, I saw a dark hand slowly retreat behind a tree. I reversed down the road at speed and drove straight home. When I got there, I immediately told my wife what happened, but she just kind of nodded her head, likely thinking I was just trying to change the mood after our argument. Nice move. I still think about that day. Part of me wants to go back to that spot. I'm not sure if I want to prove to myself I'm not crazy or what, but I haven't built up the courage. Who knows, maybe my brain was grasping for a new feeling that day and decided fear would suffice. Or maybe I really did experience something born of Native American legend. I do know that sometimes when I stay up a little later than I should and my wife is asleep, I feel the same chill, like something is watching me through the window. I get that. People creep out. I think there's something very primal in us that fears something in the woods, maybe, because before on some primal stages of our development, we were hunted by animals or whatnot. And if you're going to hunt a human being, man, you gotta be real slick, and you gotta be real quiet, and you gotta be real stealthy, because humans are not, humans are fickle, and humans are, gonna freak out just like any other animal would. I don't know. I mean, it definitely is. To me, it feels like a story. It feels like something he just wanted to write, and see what kind of reaction he got. But I got to admit, I got goosebumps reading this one. It was kind of creepy. And I think we've all been in a situation where we've been alone somewhere and we think somebody's watching us or something is watching us, and we just try to play it off like, oh, it's just our mind playing tricks on us. I kind of get that feeling from this as well. So we'll see. I mean, what do you guys think about this story? It's a good one. That's why I decided to share it. I don't know who Nut is, but I might share this with him on his thread and just drop this link in there and say, hey man, I made a little video on your story. Well done. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, like it, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, share it with others. And until next time, God bless.